Hey guys, Angry Monkey here. I was challenged by Aggie Thunderpaw to answer 10 questions or death, answering 10 video game related questions or I die.
And then I also want to challenge two of my favorite content creators who have a wonderful series called Three Way Stop. Definitely go check out their channels and check out that show. I'm going to challenge Vero's Vault, and I'm going to challenge Angry Monkey Games. I don't think you guys have done this yet. Hopefully not. But yes, Shadowstone, Vero's Vault, Angry Monkey Games. I want your answers.
Well, obviously, I can't afford to die. I mean, if I die, who's going to supply you with video game content on the internet? Don't answer that. There's billions of people that do that. But I'm one of them. And hopefully I'm your favorite. Or at least in your top 100. Anyway. So let's go ahead and get started. So, number one. What type of games do you like to play? So, yeah, I don't really have a preference on what games I like. I mean, I kind of know what I like and what I don't like, but it's not necessarily because of a genre or whatever. I mean, there's good RPGs, there's good action games, there's good platformer games, there's good story-driven games. So, yeah, I mean, if the game's got a good story, I'm probably going to like it. If it's just fun to play, I'm probably going to like it. If it's got good graphics, I mean, I'm not going to say that that's a major thing, but it could influence it a little bit. So, I guess all kinds. A fun game is a fun game. Unless it's a sports game. But then again, even some sports games aren't that bad. Like, NBA Jam's a fun game, or Mario Baseball is one of my favorite GameCube games, for example. It's like, so, there are fun sports-esque games. So yeah, I guess it just comes down to a fun game is a fun game. Number two, how much time on average do you spend playing video games? Okay, so there's a running joke on the channel of I don't play video games, I just collect them. Sadly, there is a lot of truth to that. I just don't get a chance to play video games as much as I'd like. Life is busy. I got a lot of things going on. I mean, between working and sleeping and some bit of a social life, there's just a lot I have going on in my life that, and editing videos like this one, a lot of that takes time, and a lot of that takes time away from playing video games. Having a Let's Play channel helps because it's kind of a reason to play video games, but even then, I'm not able to put as much time into playing video games as I'd like. So let me say this. Okay, if I were to exclude recording for Three Way Stop or playing video games, getting back to where we were at in Smash Subspace Emissary, me and Kaj recorded the end of Smash Subspace, and the capture card glitched out so bad that I have to redo it. But I have to start back from the very beginning of the game to get back to where we were. So if I were to exclude that, exclude Three Way Stop, I haven't really played video games like for myself for fun in like 3 months, something like that. And when I did, it probably amounts to what, like 3 hours, 4 hours in the last 3 months. So yeah, it's just I got a lot going on, I guess. Unfortunately, now when I do have time or have more time for games, I would say maybe 2 or 3 hours a week. But even then, that's kind of generous. I guess it all depends on what I'm in the mood for, like what game. If I have a game I want to play like that day or something, then I might put some time to it. But life's busy. I just don't get a chance to play as many video games as I'd like. Number three, do you think video games can be educational? Absolutely. Think about Mario's Missing or Mario's Time Machine. Those are educational games in itself. Or even in non-educational games, you can still learn something. Just the very bare minimum of hand-eye coordination that platformer games teach you. That is huge. If you master hand-eye coordination, you can do pretty much anything. So yes, video games can teach you a lot. But I also want to highlight Pokemon. Like in the OG Red, Blue, Yellow games and in all the remakes, you learn stuff about space in the Pewter City Museum. Like, I'm talking about real world space stuff. Like landing on the moon in 1969, that kind of stuff. Like, you learn that in a Pokemon game. So, yeah, even Pokemon can teach you real world stuff. Or Rocksmith is another one I highlight. You learn how to play guitar through Rocksmith. That's pretty cool. Yes, absolutely video games are educational. Number 4. What don't you like about video games? Okay, that's a big answer because there's a lot I don't like about video games, if I want to be honest. I mean, there's still a lot I love about video games, but there's a lot I don't like. But I'm going to say this answer. I'm going to say, look at this. Look how massive this is. This is almost 1,700 games just sitting on my shelf. I mean, I guess if you were to take out my digital games, it's still probably around 1,600 games, like, physically on my shelf. That's a lot. And there's so many times where I'm like, I don't know what game I want to play right now, because this game looks fun, this game looks fun. Like, I'm kind of in the mood to play some Dead Rising, I'm kind of in the mood to play some Link to the Past, but I don't know, LA Noire sounds kind of fun, but I saw Game Grumps play this game, that looked kind of fun, and I have that on my shelf, I kind of want to play that too. So, I'm going to go with that. When you have a collection that's so massive that you don't even know where to begin with, because everything looks equally fun at the same time, and you can only dedicate one game at a time, especially when you have a schedule like mine where you have question 2 of 2 to 3 hours a week at the most. It's like, okay, I got to make sure that this time counts of whatever game I'm playing. I got to make sure that it counts. And then I spend so much time trying to decide, like, maybe, that I pull a game out and I'm like, oh, it's time to go to bed. Well, I guess I'll just put this game back on the shelf, and maybe I'll still be in the mood to play that game first next week or next month. Yeah. So, I'm going to go with that. Having a collection that's so massive and you can't decide what you want to start with, and also not enough time to play them. Number 5, how much do you spend on video games? Well, that varies. Like, the month of September, I think I spent, like, maybe $50 the entire month. Because I think the only things I really bought that were actually a video game was Shin Megami Tensei 5 on PS5, and the Call of Duty World at War Collector's 10. That's pretty much the only video game related stuff I got. Like, anything else that I got up to that point, I got, like, at the end of August. But, like, that is it. But then there are other months where GameStop has a sale, and I buy, like, 8 games at once. Or I go to a retro game store, and I drop, like, $200 on retro games at that one store. Or, in November, I'm going to a video game convention. So, I'm probably going to buy quite a few games then, too. So, it really varies. I'm going to say roughly $200 a month, just because there are sometimes where it's way less, like barely any games at all. Then there are other months where I drop a lot. So, yeah, I'm going to go with like $200 a month. Number 6, what's your favorite game console? Alright, so we're going to go on a small adventure. We're going to go over here. It is Halloween time, obviously. But I want to highlight... No pun intended, I turn on a light when I say highlight. I want to highlight the Nintendo Switch. This is just one of my favorite consoles of all time, and it pretty much has been ever since the Switch came out. When they announced this idea of a TV console that's also portable at the same time, with pretty much just slide these things into that, pop it out of the dock, and it's a portable game console. I'm like, that's amazing. And the fact that you're able to play games like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Elder Scrolls Skyrim, like, those are huge games. Like, just imagine going to somebody in 2011 and being like, yeah, I can't wait in 6 or 7 years when I'll be able to play Skyrim on the go. They'll look at you and be like, how? That's not even possible. Oh, yeah, it is. Thanks to Nintendo Switch. Or before, with the exception of Smash 3DS, there was no way to play Smash Brothers on the go. I mean, Smash 3DS is nice to play on the go, but I mean, this is like a full-scale Smash Brothers game that you can play on the go. That was like my childhood dream. Like when I had my GameCube playing Melee, I'm like, man, I wish I could play Smash Brothers like in the car or something. That'd be so fun. Now I can. I mean, I guess, like I said, I could have back in 2014 when Smash 3DS came out. Wow, that game's 10 years old. Anyway, or playing Pokemon games on the TV, like a main series Pokemon game on the TV. I mean, I have other ways to play like the old ones, but like Scarlet and Violet, like you can play those on the TV and also on the go. Like, I just love the duality of the Nintendo Switch. It's so good. And yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite consoles of all time. I also want to highlight the Xbox 360. I've had that since 2008. That is my original 360. And so many memories of so many great games. I got that, like I said, Christmas of '08. So that's my high school right there. High school memories. So many amazing games that came out on the 360. So many hours. And I still put that in my top 5 consoles of all time. I love the 360 a lot. Another one I want to highlight. Let's come over here. The GameCube. I adore the GameCube. When I was a kid, I kind of took this for granted because this was my only console I had when I was like a kid, not counting Game Boy. So I'm kind of like, it's the GameCube. Like, I kind of got tired of playing GameCube games. But now, since obviously GameCube is nostalgic in every way possible because it's 20 years old. I mean, in fact, in like a year and a half, the last GameCube game would be 20 years. But there's so many unique games on the GameCube. I mean, like Pokemon Coliseum and XD Gale of Darkness are 2 unique Pokemon games that you can only play on the GameCube. Kirby Air Ride, you can only play that on the GameCube. So many unique games. Mario Kart Double Dash, you can only play that on the GameCube. And so there's so many unique games that were just quirky enough for the GameCube that were never replicated, that people are now realizing that was interesting. That was actually a fun game, and it was different. It was unique. GameCube. Also, you have the Game Boy player. You can't really see it, but I have the Game Boy player on the bottom of this GameCube. I can play Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance games on my GameCube to play on my TV. Like, you can't beat that. This is amazing. The GameCube is amazing. And I kind of wish that, I don't know, 10-year-old me, 12-year-old me, something like that, would be able to appreciate the GameCube a little bit more. I mean, obviously 12-year-old me, because like it was new. No, 11-year-old me, it was new to me, because I got it for Christmas of '03. I was 11. But like, by the time I was like 13, I'm like, eh. But now I'm like, dude, come on, 13-year-old me. Like, this console's amazing. And you're forgetting how amazing it is. Yeah, I love the GameCube. So yeah. GameCube, 360, and Switch. Those are my top 3. But, I mean, I've got so many honorable mentions, because, I mean, the PS2, there's no denying, there's a reason why the PS2 is the greatest selling console of all time. It's amazing. So many just classic, amazing games for the PS2, for example. I adore the 64. I've got a lot of memories of the 64. And you got, like, the Game Boy and the DS, the 3DS. So many great games. So, I mean, I'm not going to say, like, oh, well, I only like these, I don't like... No, they're all great. But I guess I gotta pick some kind of favorites for this video. Number 7. What is your favorite video game? Okay, so I mentioned it earlier. I've got almost 1,700 games in my collection. You want me to pick just one? That's impossible. There's so many amazing games on the shelf, and there's also some amazing video games I don't have yet, but I'd love to get. That might be a new favorite. Because, like, I'm going to be like, oh, well, this game's my favorite. Well, this game's my favorite. I like this game. So, like, I'm gonna give, I guess, just a small list, but that's not even the tip of 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 the iceberg um, of favorite games. But I guess here's a few I want to highlight. Um, Pokemon, pretty much any Pokemon game is going to be high up on my list of favorite video games of all time. A lot of that could just be nostalgia bias because I've been playing Pokemon games for over 20 years, so there's kind of that childhood wonder that is still in there of like, oh, what am I going to see if I go this way or go this way? And there's also the every time you play, it's a different experience because the Pokemon you encounter are going to be different. Like even the same Pikachu, like if you find a Pikachu in one game, it's going to be a different Pikachu from a different game because the stats are different, for example. Or you're going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to try a Torchic today because I tried a Mudkip last time. Something like that. Like the starters lead to a whole new experience, or a monotype run. I have a monotype run that I'm slowly going through in Pokemon Sapphire where I'm only picking water types. So I'm using a lot of Pokemon I never would have tried otherwise. So that makes it a fun experience every time I play it. But I'm going to highlight just a couple of them because I can't just say the entire Pokemon series as a whole because it's like 50 games or whatever. But one game I really want to highlight is Pokemon Emerald. This is my original box that I got brand new in the summer of 2005. And, well, I mean, the art is just beautiful, so I just like showing that off sometimes. But yeah, Pokemon Emerald took everything from Ruby and everything from Sapphire, combined them together. So both Team Aqua and Team Magma are your villains, not siding with one against the other, because that kind of doesn't really make sense. It makes more sense that they're just both villains, and I love that. You have Rayquaza as the main focus. That's a pretty cool dragon. And they added like the Battle Frontier. They brought back the animations when you encounter Pokemon in the wild and trainer battles and stuff. Like they have a little bit of an animation, something that we haven't seen since Crystal. So Emerald, it's amazing. Definitely high up on my list of the greatest games of all time. Another one I want to highlight is Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and obviously they're kind of the same game. But here's my Heart Gold that I got. March of 2010, and that's the perfect sequel to a Pokemon game. Like it's probably like the greatest sequel of all time in my opinion, and it's the greatest remake of a game in my opinion. They took everything that was great from the original Gold and Silver game and they expanded it in so many ways that I didn't even think was possible. Pokemon following you. They brought back the day-night cycle, but they brought back they have abilities, obviously, because abilities are a thing now. That wasn't a thing in Gen 2, but it is since Gen 3. The animations are back. The music, they changed the music, updated the music. The music's good, but you can also still play the original versions of the songs once you get like all the badges. There's so many features and quality of life improvements that they added to Heart Gold and Soul Silver. It's amazing. And so Heart Gold and Soul Silver is definitely high up on my list of, like, in my opinion, greatest games of all time. Definitely at the top of my list, or towards the top of my list of favorite video games that I have. Another game I want to highlight is the Smash Brothers series. And I guess I'll go ahead and say that one as a whole. That one's a little bit easier to explain than Pokemon. That series is what introduced me to so many Nintendo franchises. When I played the original, like for the very first time, I knew what Pokemon were, obviously. I knew who Mario was, and Donkey Kong, and Yoshi. But I had never heard of Link. I knew who Zelda was, because I just assumed that Link was Zelda. But I'm like, oh, so that's Link, not Zelda. Okay. So I got to learn, like, who Link was and who Zelda actually was. I got to learn, the existence of Metroid and Star Fox and F-Zero and Earthbound. And when Melee came out, I got to learn about Fire Emblem, for example, and Mr. Game & Watch, and basically the history of the Game & Watch itself. And so every Smash Brothers game introduces me to more characters that I might not have even thought about, because I'm like, oh, it's just another game on the console. Oh, no, that's a character that's in Smash Brothers. Okay, this character must be significant for some reason, and it draws me into those games to play them. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Smash Brothers series as one of my favorite games, mostly just because of that. But, I mean, it is also a really fun fighting game, and one of the few video games where I can somewhat stand a slight fighting chance if I were playing against Kajinama or Citrus Fruit, where I can, on very rare occasions, win. It's rare, but it does happen. I can't say the same about Mario Party and any other game that I play against them, because they just destroy me. A few other games I want to highlight. Now, I mean, this is the GameCube version, but Ocarina of Time. When I played that for the very first time, I'm like, whoa, this is an adventure. Like I talked about earlier about Pokemon being an adventure, but Ocarina of Time was an adventure, and you have the whole time travel aspect to it, and I'm like, whoa. This game is something else. Like there's a reason why there's still some people who regard that as one of the greatest video games ever made. Yeah, I agree. Ocarina of Time, it's amazing. A couple other games that I'm going to also rank pretty high for the same reason of I've never played anything like it before, or at least before I played it, which obviously is true. Obviously, if there's a game that's kind of new to a genre, no game you've played before that is going to be anything you've played before. But you know what I mean. This game's unique. Dead Rising. Specifically, the 360 era of the first one, the second one off the record, going through a mall, killing zombies with whatever you can find, interesting psychopath fights. It's just a unique game, and there's so much humor and so much charm to that game. It's like it's not scary at all, but they balance horror elements in basically a comedy at the same time, and it's a perfect blend of those two genres that you wouldn't think would mesh together well, but Dead Rising finds a way to merge zombie apocalypse and I'm going to smack the zombie with a purse. It's hilarious. Another game that I regard very highly is Fallout 3. Now, I mean, New Vegas is good, 4 is good, and you can say the same about the Elder Scrolls series as well. I prefer Fallout over Elder Scrolls, but I mean, they're both great. But when I played Fallout 3, that was another case of I've never played anything like this before. I mean, Bioshock was close. Bioshock gave me a similar vibe, but Fallout just kind of expands more than what Bioshock did as far as this particular aesthetic, this futuristic thing where first person shooter, you're just out in the world. And I mean, Bioshock is a lot more linear, and I still love Bioshock. It's a fantastic game. But Fallout, I didn't realize when I first started playing it on what kind of adventure and what kind of memories this game would give me. Because I'm playing this game like, oh, okay, yeah, just going through this shelter. Okay, now I'm in Megaton. Okay, that's cool. I'm kind of bored, though. Nothing's really happening. And then I'm like, let's go in this Mega Mart store. Okay, there's giant ants in here. That's kind of crazy. So like you have this tension of fighting these giant ants, and then you find a weapon. You're like, okay, that's kind of a cool weapon. Oh, this weapon's really powerful. And then you're like, oh, what's over here? Oh, that's a cool item, or that's a cool outfit. And then you're like, oh, what's over here? I'm going to explore this town now. I'm going to explore over here. And there's just so many unique areas and interesting characters that you meet in that game. And I put so many hours in that game, and I still have not explored the entire map or completed all the missions. There's just so much in that game. And it's amazing. Like I said, New Vegas is good, 4 is good, but I'm still going with Fallout 3. That was my introduction to the series, but it's just so good. So I'm going with that. And I've spent way too long on this question, so let's just move on to the next one. Number 8. What's your favorite video game movie? I'm trying to think on that. I haven't seen a lot of movies in general. But I really liked the animated Mario movie that came out last year. There were so many Easter eggs to just fans of Nintendo, like the Kid Icarus references and the Jumpman references. There's so many references in that movie, but it's also just a fun movie. And it was well done, well animated. It was just a fun movie. But I'm also going to say Detective Pikachu was also a very fun movie. Obviously, as a Pokemon kid, you get to see what a Pikachu would look like as a real animal, and it was really adorable. And, well, it's Ryan Reynolds as a Pikachu. It's pretty cool. And I also really enjoyed the Sonic movies, both 1 and 2. I actually liked the second one more than the first one because the second one felt more like Sonic. Mostly because, I mean, Robotnik started to look like Robotnik, but you also had Tails in there, you had Knuckles in there, so you had more Sonic characters to make it feel more like a Sonic movie, and I'm excited for 3, because I'm sure 3 is going to be great as well. And one that nobody talks about is the Tetris movie. It's a biopic. So, yeah, they exaggerate certain things, but the major events, except for the car chase, were things that happened in the history of the making of Tetris and trying to bring Tetris over to America. So if you've not seen that movie, the Tetris movie, I think it's just called Tetris, I'm not sure, I forget. Future me will correct me. That movie's great. I definitely recommend that. Definitely watch it. In fact, I might put that even above the Mario movie. It was a good movie. Number 9. Favorite video game character. Oh, jeez. I mean, Mario's the most iconic, so I kind of want to go with the safe answer of Mario, but Link is a great silent protagonist. Frank West from the first Dead Rising game has so much humor, and so much charm, so much personality that I kind of want to put him on that list as well. Sonic, of course. Pikachu, of course. He's iconic in Pokemon. Lugia, if I want to go with my favorite Pokemon, might be at the top of that list as well. I don't know. There's so many great characters. I don't know if I can say on who my favorite character is. There's so many great, iconic characters. Number 10. What's your least favorite type of game? Well, I could go to the cop-out answer and say sports, but I've got a better answer than that. Games that are stupid hard for no reason. I'm looking at you, Battletoads. I'm looking at you, Ninja Gaiden. So many horrible memories on Three-Way Stop from these 2 games. They're good games for whatever, like for different reasons. But I hate those games. They are stupid hard, and I hate stupid hard games. I hate games that make me feel like a failure because I just can't seem to beat level 1. I hate hard games. I just do. I do not find enjoyment in those. I find more enjoyment in an NES sports ball game than I do Battletoads. And that's a shame because Battletoads has so much good for it. The music, the characters, the level designs, I guess. But they're so hard I can't enjoy them. So, yeah, that's my number 10 answer, is games that are stupid hard for no reason. And, yeah, that was 10 questions. I answered them, which means that, I don't die. That's cool, I guess. Yay. But the last thing I gotta do is challenge somebody else out there to the same 10 questions, which, for reference to anybody, here are the list of questions. But I'm going to challenge 2 people. Mike Tendo Power, I challenge you to these 10 questions. Obviously, I don't want you to die, but answer those questions. And I also want to shout out Joe Schmo, who does anime and video game stuff, streams, is working on collecting the entire Wii set. I want to hear your answers too. So, Mike Tendo Power and Joe Schmo, I'm challenging both of you guys to this 10 video game questions or die challenge that I was given as well. Looking forward to your answers. And I guess with that, that is the end of this video. So if you haven't yet, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified, because coming soon is this month's Retro Game Treasure. So you guys need to be subscribed so that way you guys know exactly when this video comes out. Hoping to come out in the next couple days. And obviously with that you can see some new pickups I've gotten in the last few weeks. I also have a Facebook page. You can like me on there. I also have an Instagram where you can follow me on Instagram that I forget I have until I advertise it. But follow me on there because you never know when I'm going to upload something onto Instagram. And it's going to be cool because you can see I've got a lot of cool stuff I can show off. But most importantly, I have a Discord where you can join me on Discord where we talk about video games, anime, Pokemon, post memes, talk about nostalgia. It's just a fun time. All you need to do is just be like, I want to join your Discord. I'll be like, cool, here's an invite, and join our community of nerds where we have fun, hang out, nerd out, as I always say. So, yeah, I guess that's all I have for this video, so thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.